live and then asked.
Oh, right. Yeah,
And we're
exactly.
live.
And we're live.
Yeah, no, we're talking about a bathroom business.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Oh my goodness. Oh, there was, oh my God, there's so much stuff. It's like as if my anxiety isn't bad enough already. It's like there's just so much.
My anxiety has anxiety.
Yeah, no, for real. Oh my
My
God.
general anxiety disorder is being treated for panic attacks.
Yeah, I know. It's just been like, especially like this week. Well, it's every week we always say it's especially this week.
Because it just keeps escalating. We are literally on an escalator or the incline of a roller coaster.
Yeah,
and that's
it's a
some
roller
scary
coaster.
shit.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be on it when it goes down.
Yeah, no, really, not this one.
I might jump off, dude. Like,
because oh my God. Well, at least, yeah, I know. So we've been saying it's been like this week has been rough since the beginning of the year.
I've been saying that for 4 fucking years now.
No, I really, we've been saying this since 2016. How,
dude, you showed up in my fucking Facebook memories the other day.
Oh no, which one?
Yeah, 5 fucking years. No, it was the time that was like, holy shit, 5 years.
What were we doing?
Jesus. Well, I mean, it's kind of private. No.
5 years ago.
We were on a show together.
Oh my God. Was it the first one? Was it the first one?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I loved you so much. I couldn't even talk to you. I'm just like, oh, it's Daphne Lane. You're too busy looking at somebody else.
Yeah, I was making googly eyes at Mog Park. On that
my time has
yeah,
changed.
look, I couldn't help it. She did this like really, really hot piece of Sansa and the mountain.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just like that was fresh.
Favorite.
That was fresh in my head. So
Oh my God. Let's get on camera before people leave us. Good morning, everyone. It is April 4th, 2025, and we are trying to get our shit together.
Which is not going to happen. Everybody should be used to that by now.
No. I couldn't even get fully dressed this morning.
Well,
it's complicated.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right, let me see if I can remember how to do this.
Right. Okay.
I really can't. All right, you ready?
Absolutely not, but hit it.
Trigger warning, fuck you.
And fuck you.
And we're back to normal. Oh my God.
I just gotta make sure I demonetize videos off the top. I don't just like if you're feeling generous or whatever, give us like a super chat or sticker or something.
Oh, we can still we can do
Facebook
that
can take their ads and shove it up their ass. Oh yeah, but I gotta fix some stuff and YouTube. Like,
okay, all right, yeah. So we can get stickers and super chats now. That's
Good morning, ladies.
Good morning. Oh yes, say who's joining us in the chat. So obviously Lou and Melissa.
Lou and Melissa are the only two speaking.
Yes, and I see you, our beautiful eyeball people watching us from regions beyond. I know it's been a bit because I mean, look, it's like appointment.
Nita keeps trying to die. Daphne's got appointments, and
yeah, we both right. It's just right.
I'm getting ready for my AARP membership.
Right. Well, hey,
my body's pressing for it.
Almost. Jose gets that now, and it's like he says the Denny's discount is worth it. So.
Denny's is one of C's favorite places to eat. And what fuck? Oh, hey, John. It's one of Steve's favorite places to
Hey,
eat,
John.
and they closed any local ones. We have to drive all the way to fucking New Orleans, which is like about an hour and
Oh
30,
no.
45 minutes from
Get
here
bought off
to
by a
hit
hedge
a
fund?
Denny's.
Did they get,
I don't.
you know,
Who the fuck
that's
knows?
usually like when something starts to close, it's like, okay, which hedge fund bought them? You know,
It's
no, it's not
ridiculous.
Amazon. It's not people wanting to eat in, especially, you know, especially with the cost of food now. Now it doesn't make any difference whether you go to a restaurant or you stay at home.
I actually saw a little reprieve at this last grocery trip, but I
Right.
also
Yeah.
like don't think we bought eggs. So
Right. Well,
there's that.
well, it's like what, they're $18 a carton. You know, yeah, yeah, the eggs, because like the eggs that I buy, they're now like $25 for 2 cartons. You know, and it's like, oh, I remember when these were 7.
Gone are the
Everything's
days.
normal. Everything's normal. This is
I need to get some
fine.
fucking chickens. And before we go to war with penguins.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Look.
The Great
Don't knock
Penguin War
my
of 2025.
penguins almost murdered my sister. Oh my goodness. So hello everyone and welcome to another edition of the Raging 2, the vlogs show. Whatever this is where you're at. Hello and thank you.
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
my name is Daphne Lage, and I'm a cartoonist, illustrator, and comic book artist from New York. I have been self-publishing comics since 1992, and I am known. Oh, and
You know what that means?
oh my God, yeah, and you know what that means. You see, that just goes to show you.
I have anxiety. That means I'm in my shell and have a hard time expressing myself. I find it difficult to engage with others. So everyone shut the f*** up because my anxiety is up here right now.
That's how bad it is. I almost forgot
it
my
is.
shtick. I almost forgot my shtick. Jesus. And I am known for the furry fantasy adventure Tall Tales and my medieval fantasy drama Eagle Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn, which goes live April 14th with issue 10 of this 16-issue series. Link is in the chat and in the show notes. You can read both my comics online at egoworks.com, EGOWORKS, and Tall Tales, TAILS online.com. And you can check out all my videos on how I make my comics here on YouTube at my channel at Daphne Lage, LAGE Art, which also simulcasts through the Indie Comics Network. And to tell you more about it, here's Nita.
Oh my God. Okay, so anyway, Indie Comics Network is a channel on YouTube. It's me and some of my friends, people I like, sometimes people I don't like.
But
that happens. But they're good for the engagement. And so
Right.
whatever. We stream and shit and we talk comics. We talk whatever. It's just whatever.
Right.
It's not a network. It's just a YouTube channel. Call me
Right.
fuck down.
Oh no. Are people still thinking we're CNN with dick jokes?
Yeah, it's fucking stupid. It's so fucking stupid.
Oh my goodness. Although today we probably will end up CNN as dick jokes with dick jokes because it's like
sounds delicious.
Oh my God. So before I get started with my rambling, how are you doing, Nita?
I'm doing good. I am like I've got like some shoulder pain and stuff, but I'm functional again. I'm working. We went out last night as a family. That was really nice. We went out to eat the fiery crab, which was fucking awesome. Except for the fact that 3 of the kids didn't eat jack shit while we were there, and it was like $150 fucking dollars.
Well, technically, you saved money by them not eating, but
no, we bought the food and they didn't want it.
Oh,
and it was like, oh Jesus! But I
How
didn't
dare
even
they?
force them to eat it because it was like one of them I was proud that just tried something different, and the other
Right.
2 I tried theirs and it was like, ugh. But the
Oh.
boil that Van and I split was fucking amazing. But then we went and saw the Minecraft movie, and when we came home, we saw a review of this YouTuber who was like just totally trashing it, and it's like, what the fuck did you expect from a movie based on a children's sandbox game or a sandbox
Right.
game designed for children? Just because us grown ass adults play the game doesn't mean
Right.
it was intended
Well,
for
it's
us.
like it should have been like The Watchmen.
But it was like I found it
Minecraft,
was
but
fun
Watchmen,
and
but Minecraft.
it was stupid fun, stayed true to the
Right.
fucking game. Yeah, Jack Black. I can't wait to see the fucking 5-year-olds with middle-aged man action figures and shit or whatever. But it was
Right.
fun, and to hear the kids cackling and shit at it
Right.
was just the fucking theater, like the
Right.
little kids giggling, my teenagers giggling.
Right.
It was just fucking. It was
Well,
fucking
you
great.
know what it is. It's like those beta males hate it when people have fun.
And it was nice, and it was just nice to get out. But what's sad is the review wasn't from a fucking beta male. It's from a YouTuber that I actually really like, and it's like, man, you
Right.
must just not get it. Like it just,
Right.
you know,
Or they just don't like people having fun. You know, it's like
maybe,
everything, you
maybe.
know, it's like the the guys who get upset when not every comic is like Watchmen.
Oh God, right,
You
right.
know, I mean, it's like, come on, let it go, bro.
It was stupid, and look, it
Right.
was either it was directed or produced or something by the dude who did Napoleon Dynamite,
Okay.
and
So
there
that
were
should have been, you know,
right. So you go in
right,
there with that mindset, and then they
right.
actually did when they had little references. God damn it,
Easter
why can't I
eggs.
think of the word? Easter eggs for Napoleon Dynamite within it. Like there's this like
Right,
one little scene, which I'm not spoiling much, where the kid reaches in his pocket and pulls out a tater tot.
right,
And it was like, this is fucking epic, man. Like
right.
it was just stupid fun. It was
Right.
stupid
No,
fun.
no, no. You're not allowed to have fun.
And it was nice to get out and
Right.
it,
Children are
because
not allowed to be happy.
no, because I have been confining myself in the house for fucking months with
Oh,
the
no,
fucking
yeah.
illness and
Yeah.
shit.
Right.
And like the most I've gotten out is the fucking grocery store, and sometimes I've even just sat in the car while C went and did the shopping.
Wow.
You
So
know, so
so the
it's
fact
like
that you even had a full night was an
right, right.
accomplishment on
In
its
fact,
own.
I almost bailed on you today because I thought that I would be sore and exhausted, and I'm really
Right.
not.
Oh, that's
So
good. That's
obviously
good.
the steroids and the medicine really did
Right.
fucking pull me out of
The
that shit.
GABA.
I do love me some gabapentin now. Like I ain't trying to sound like a fucking junkie, but man, I am afraid of being taken off of that stuff because
Right.
that nerve pain in my face, that was
Right.
the most excruciating shit I've ever experienced in my life. It was like
Right.
constantly being electrocuted behind my nose. Like it was getting to the point where I wanted to punch myself or bang my head in the wall. Like
Dang.
when I called my doctor, I was like, because at first I was like, no, I don't want any kind of nerve medicine. I don't want pain
Right.
medicine. I'm not doing this. I'm not going that route. I'm
Right.
bigger than this, whatever.
Right.
I'll
Yeah.
push through. But when that shit didn't let up after about the 7th day,
Right.
I was like, okay, I surrender because if not, I'm
Right.
gonna end up eating a fucking bullet. It was like not
Right.
cool.
Wow. You know,
And
but I think that
it
they
took a
could
bit.
just
It's
like
fine.
lower your dosage as opposed to like, because I
I
mean,
did that
GABA.
myself. I'm not
Yeah.
taking it like I'm supposed to. Like they've got
You
me
know, it's
like
funny.
taking
Mom doesn't take the GABA
4
like
times a
she's supposed
day,
to. Yeah.
like
No, she has
300
something.
milligrams. I
She
take
says, "I'll be
150.
sleeping all day if I take
Yeah,
exactly
no, if
what
I
they gave me."
right. So I take
Yeah.
way less. I take about half
Right.
my prescription. So,
Yeah.
but and then also like speaking of better living through chemistry,
Yeah.
I I've I've started taking an antidepressant, anti-anxiety med, Zoloft,
Oh.
and
Right.
at first it was like a fucking nightmare. I was like, oh my God, my anxiety had anxiety, and my
Right.
depression got depressed.
Uh-oh.
But I was like, I'm gonna tough it out through the first 2 weeks, no matter what, because I
Right. Yeah.
heard that it could make the symptoms worse before it gets
Right.
better.
Right.
And I am so glad I did that right
Oh,
now
that's good because you're feeling like
because
more even.
I feel so much more like I feel more like myself than I have in the past since Meredith passed away.
Wow.
Like it's really like maybe maybe seek help, people. If you need it, get it, because
Right. Yeah. Maybe it's not that bad.
it like I mean I still have fucking anxiety. Like
Right.
that shit is
Yeah.
not going away.
Well, right.
It's not. But
But
like
at least that
it,
helps you
it
maintain
there's
a
there's
better
a
equilibrium.
relief
Yeah.
and also I don't have this intrusive thought, the
Those are
constant
bad.
intrusive
Yeah.
thoughts.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just been for the general anxiety,
Right.
it's helped a lot.
Yeah. It's like, it's for all the people, say, oh, that's just in your head. And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah. Get it. I need something to help me get it out
Yes.
because I was not
Right.
doing it
Yeah.
on my own. But anyway, comics.
Oh my goodness. Oh yeah. So the big thing that I have been spending these last couple of days having to deal with. Now, mind you, it's like, doing comics is all fun and games until you have to do the back end admin stuff.
Ew,
And it's
yeah.
just like, and even then it's like I'm still working on Eagle Raven 10, which I just announced is going to go live April 14th, but I'm really confident that I can finish this, or at least get it like just under the wire, just finish it before I go live, right? Either
Right.
way, it's not affecting the outcome of the campaign because I'm still on schedule to get it printed on time and everything. So I'm not worried about that. I have 4 pages left. And then MailChimp decides to spring some nonsense on me.
Oh shit, what happened?
So MailChimp is the platform that I use to manage my mailing list.
Right.
I have never been happy with MailChimp, but it served its purpose. It's kind of like, and I really, and it's like, I don't know, it just seemed like that entire website was set up to be as annoying as possible. I could never find anything. And it's like it's always trying to like nickel and dime me and charge me for everything. And I got to a point where it's like I was able to keep my subscribers under a certain amount so that I could still use the free version of
Right.
the platform. But you know how it is, they want their pound of flesh, right? However they get it, right? So they sent me an email saying that they were moving something called automations, right? So what it is that when you sign up for my mailing list, you get this series of emails that prompt you in, and then you get to like a master email where you can download the free comics that I give to everybody who who signs up.
Right.
So they said that they were getting rid. Not only were they getting classic automations, which is what I was using, but they were turning that into a paid feature. So the one thing that I really was using MailChimp for, they were going to now put behind a paywall. And their
Like
fucking
StreamYard.
paywall, right? And their fucking paywall is like $30 to $40 a month, depending on how many people you have on your mailing list.
Time
Right?
to move that mailing list over to
I was
Substack.
so fucking pissed. I go, you know what? I'm fed up with it. It's like I've never really liked MailChimp. Luckily, Kelsey Rodriguez, a woman that I follow. Yeah, I know. Really, anything with chimp in the title is likely a
Hey,
no for
Connie.
me. Hello. So luckily, Kelsey Rodriguez, who's an art YouTuber that I follow, an art business YouTuber that I follow, she had just recently sent me an email from her mail. It was her newsletter, right? From
Right.
her mailing list, because I'm on her mailing list. So and I go, you know what? Who does she use? Right. So it
Right.
was a company called Kit, KIT. And they used to be named something else. I just forgot what it was. And they now call themselves Kit. So so I started looking into it. And so Kit is a mailing list builder, organizer, and everything, right? And it
Right.
seemed to offer everything that I wanted, right? The benefit is that their free version is up to 10,000
Oh, holy shit.
subscribers.
Nice.
So it's like, yo, I don't even have that many, and it's like, and I thought I had to do double takes and everything. So I go, you know what? I need to do something anyway. So I just, opened up an account and, looked around a bit, and it's like, yeah, no, it seems that the free version up to 10,000 subscribers is still incredibly functional for what I need at this moment, at this time where I'm at right now.
Right.
So once I had that open, I decided like I'll deal with it the next day because because I had gotten that email, that MailChimp email, like right after my live stream on Wednesday. And I'm always wiped out every time I do a live stream. I don't know what is it with doing a solo live stream where it's like, I wish, it's like, it's like I've run half marathons that were less exhausting than doing a live stream. Yes, that's all in the background. It's a combination of
Wait till the parrot chimes
yeah,
in.
wait until he chimes in. So yeah, I share my office space with a parrot and two parakeets. I think that was them. ConvertKit, I think that's them. That they were formerly known as ConvertKit, and now it's just Kit. So so the next day, it's like I decided to focus completely on figuring out this email because I wanted to get my stuff away from MailChimp as quickly as possible before I kind
Right.
of like lost steam and forgot about it.
Right.
So, except I decided to do something different this time around. I figured it's like, you know what? If I'm going to do my mailing lists from scratch, I'm going to do it from scratch. So, what I did was I started off with all my followers on Kickstarter. Depending on the campaign, I divided up my followers like Tall Tales and Eagle Raven. Let's just use that as an example. And then I started my mailing list based on them. So I imported them in, right? And what I liked about Kit is that it made it very easy for me to tag everybody so that I knew who was who. Because
Right.
I had a thing going on at MailChimp where I had everybody separated and I would only send emails according to that tag. So if people were signed up because of Tall Tales, I only sent them Tall Tales stuff. If people signed up because of Eagle Raven, I sent them Eagle Raven stuff.
Huh.
So, just to kind of like keep it tidy. Like, but if there was something that I wanted everybody to know, then I sent it to the entire list. And I set everything up. I set up my automation, which like if you sign up on the website, depending whether you sign up for Eagle Raven or Tall Tales, you get tagged as Eagle Raven or Tall Tales. And then you get sent the master the master email, which allows you to download all of the books. So I was able to keep my basic functionality. The thing that MailChimp was now going to put behind a paywall, I was able to get back on Kit. So
Right.
in the end, I found the interface a lot easier to manage than MailChimp. And after setting everything up with my new mailing list and sending out that first email pretty much explaining why people were getting this email. It's like, yeah, I had to switch over to MailChimp and now hopefully I'll be able to get back on track with sending a monthly email to everybody. And what I found on that first send was that I had a significantly higher open rate than I ever did on MailChimp.
Holy shit.
On
Nice.
MailChimp, I was lucky if I even got to 2% of my
Holy
list to
shit.
open up. On Kit, I had a 35% open rate.
Wow. That's better than the Av, which is like 20%.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Right.
Nice.
And I think the part of that is that because I was starting from scratch, and this whole thing about cold audiences and warm audiences and hot audiences, this is what happens. This is actually an example of why you shouldn't bother with cold audiences. Because my MailChimp account was mostly a cold audiences that I was trying to convert to a warm audience, and that never happened.
Right.
With Kit, I put in everybody that was essentially a hot. Everyone's hot. Everybody on my mailing list is now hot. Because these are people who have already proven to me they will buy my stuff because they came from Kickstarter.
I need to look into that for ethereal.
So now I have better engagement. I mean, now mind you, this was just the first one. Did people unsubscribe? Yes, they did. You
Of
know,
course.
but the people who were left obviously engaged with the email at a much higher rate than I got from MailChimp. So in the end, the effort to kind of like get over the hump of learning this, it's actually a lot easier. It's just that don't do it when you're tired, because in the end, I
But
realized this is a lot.
you're telling creatives, don't do it when you're tired. I
Right.
mean,
Yeah. No, but Kit is actually, I find it a lot easier to do than to work with than MailChimp. And also I've always had this feeling for the longest time that since MailChimp is so ubiquitous with so many people use it, I think that a lot of like Google automatically marks MailChimp emails as spam. Because I think
they might,
right.
because a lot of times I will find people in my spam.
Right.
It won't separate it into
Yeah.
what's it, promotion or whatever.
Right.
It won't do that.
Yeah, it's like I've always suspected that a lot of MailChimp stuff just gets automatically filtered to spam. So with MailChimp, I had a problem with having a very disengaged audience, and the fact that MailChimp itself was a liability when it comes to spam filters. So in the end, I kind of think that this was a better move for me, even though technically I had to be forced to do it. But that's kind of how I function. Like for some reason, I tend to come up with better solutions for things when I'm forced to than when I
This is
have to
kind of
sit
cool.
down. Than if I had to sit down and actually think about it on my own. So, especially nowadays, especially especially nowadays, control over your audience is more important than ever.
Right.
Because shit's about to get hairy on so many different fronts. And it's like the more you have actual control over your audience, it's going to be better for you. But here's also a thing too that I learned. I don't know what to do with this information, but I'm hoping it's something that I can kind of like figure out later. When I separated, so what I did was say I took all my Tall Tales campaigns and I combined all the emails, right, to put in this mailing list, right? And after I deleted all the duplicates, like the people who it's like I didn't have to have like 9 versions, like 9 duplicate, like 9 emails in a row of the same thing, right? I just needed the one because it's going on the mailing list. Once I got rid of the duplicates, for Tall Tales alone, I had over 500 unique emails.
Nice.
From Kickstarter. For Eagle Raven, I have 600 unique emails. But every time I run a campaign, like for Eagle Raven, I'm lucky if I can get 130 to 150 backers.
Right.
With Tall Tales, I'm lucky if I'm able to get like 100 backers on a campaign. But all the emails that I've collected over all campaigns, like I said, I have 6. Nita, I mean, the thought of it. If everybody on that list,
potential backers, right?
If everybody on those lists backed if all that 400 people backed every Tall Tales campaign that I have, right? Shit would be good, man. Imagine having 600 backers.
Right.
I mean, you're making what, $15,000, $20,000 on 600 backers, depending on what you're selling and whatnot.
Right.
But it's like, now it's like, wait a minute. How do I wake everybody up? You know, I mean, it's like, wait a minute, how do I have this many people backing my campaigns, but they never seem to do it all at once? Even if I had just half of that on a campaign, right? So I'm hoping that with this new email system that I'm working with, that it'll help me wake the rest of them up, like little Manchurian
Tap
candidate.
into that.
Yeah, it's like little Manchurian candidates. Just wake everybody. I was like, oh, you have another candidate. I completely forgot about, that book. So I'm hoping, that I can kind of like do something with that information. So also like the other thing, right? So a couple of things, right? So the next one, I don't want to get too much into detail. I'm just going to talk about what it is, just what it is, right? So let me preface it. The 10% rule in action. Yeah, it is frustrating. So the other day, one of my favorite online stores, Super Plastic. Actually, it was on April 1st. Super Plastic, the makers of the little vinyl art monsters that I like picking up once in a while, right? They had sent an email on April 1st saying that they were getting out of the toy business and they were closing their store.
And you bought it?
They had all their stuff for 79% off. And I jumped to the website, found there was this one vinyl in particular that I was kind of like sitting on for like a couple of years because it was like $130. And as much as I liked it, I didn't like it for $130, but now it was $30. So
and all of a sudden I love it.
Right. And all of a sudden it's like, okay, I'm going to pick that up. I picked up another one. I picked up a couple of other things. Right. And, I'm like going, look, it's like, and then I realized what I was telling Jose, I was like, yeah, you're not going to believe it. It's like, they had like this crazy ass sale. And then I realized it's like, oh, holy shit. It's like April 1st, it's like, it's just an April Fool's joke that they're closing the store. But I go, you know what? It's like, I'm getting the stuff that I want at a significantly discounted price.
There's no way they're closing, right?
Right. And then after I was talking to Jose about it, then I was like, wait a minute, let me double check something. And they're closing the store because starting, I guess, like April 6th is when the new tariffs go into effect. And so there was this letter by the guy who founded Super Plastic, and he was also the previous founder of Kid Robot.
Right.
So, and he was talking about that because of the tariffs, even just like first it was 10%, then it was 20%. And now he says that, they're talking about putting a 50% tariff, right? On, I guess, on things coming out of China, especially. And he goes, there is no way I can make small batch toys under these circumstances.
Right.
So, because I guess vinyl art toys is not that dissimilar to indie comics, it seems. He makes them in small, he makes the vinyls in small batches, right? It's like he has, at factories, at very specific factories in China that are owned by his friends, because I guess they produce their own toys as well. I watched a documentary on this, and to see how many of these vinyl art toy guys actually end up setting up their own factories so that they can do their toys.
Right.
But, so it's like, it's not like they're going through whatever factories Temu. It's like, no, it's like, these are very specific factories that they work with. And he goes, I cannot afford the tariffs on top of what it already costs to make these toys and bring them into the United States. Yeah. He goes, a toy that now you could pick up for $130 he would have to sell for $400 to make not even a profit, just to cover the tariffs. Yeah, I was kind of wondering
They
about
they
that too,
already
but
are.
yeah.
They already are. These are
Right.
3D printed behind
Yeah.
me, and they are fucking blowing up in conventions. Like,
You know,
especially when you find quality ones.
but and the thing is, and he says the worst part about it is that there is not one factory in the United States that does this type of work.
Nope.
Right? So he's closing the
America.
store. Get this. He says that he's giving everybody until, I guess, like the tariff deadline to empty out his warehouse, and then whatever vinyls are left over are going to be melted down and turned into vinyl records. I guess they make vinyl records in the United States, but not vinyl toys. So so I really didn't think about it that much. I just go, oh, well, I got my toys, the toys that I wanted for like, and even like some that I wasn't even considering. But, it's like when they're selling for $15, it's like bet, it's like that whole thing,
Right.
But then on Blue Sky, what's his name? What is it? Steve Jackson Games, I think. Yeah. So they do board games.
I think so, yeah.
They put up a letter on Blue Sky saying how they might have to discontinue doing board games because of the tariffs. And again, they said that not only are there parts of the board games that literally factories in the United States that doesn't exist to make them, even the components that he can get done in the United States, there's already several years waiting list to get stuff manufactured because there is no manufacturing. There's no, it's like the companies don't exist in the States the way they exist in China. The foundation is not there. It's like even if you could find a company that could make it, now they're being flooded with everybody who needs that.
But the tariffs are still going to affect it because not only that, we're going to have to get the materials.
Right. That's a whole right.
And so that's coming. Yeah. So it's still no matter what we fucking do, because like the simple solution would be like, oh yeah, let's make a factory and become billionaires. But
right,
no, that's not how it works.
There was an independent clothing line that I follow that put up almost an identical letter saying that they're going to have to discontinue creating their stuff because they cannot, the tariffs are too expensive. It's like, and it's like,
feels like a goddamn eternity.
I'm sitting here going, oh wow, this seems to be disproportionately affecting small business owners. Because do you think Walmart's not going to be affected? You're just going to see your prices go up. It's like, all the big box stores, they can handle this shit. You're the ones that are going to see your prices. But like small business owners, like Steve Jackson Games, he says that games that he sells for $20, with the tariffs, he would now have to start charging more than $40. For this, like, and what's funny is the same thing with the small business clothing. It was like going, I'm going to have to like double or triple my prices, and I can't do that to my customers. I mean, it's like technically just being small batch stuff to begin with is expensive enough, and then it's like I started thinking about, like I said, I'm not getting into that part. And then I started thinking about like all the creators who are printing their stuff in China, who are doing all their trades in China, all their hardcovers in China, who are doing their floppies in China. I mean, now granted, it's a lot easier to find printers for those types of things in the United States.
But the printers are struggling finding the fucking materials. Once again, here we go.
So
they're increasing here too, so
Yeah.
it doesn't
So it's
matter.
like, yeah, so and again, it's like they're going to be flooded with people trying to keep their stuff in the United States. So, so I'm kind of wondering like how this is going to affect, like, okay, so if this is affecting like game designers, right?
Right.
How, when you think about like how many people are going to be literally unable to create their products through Kickstarter,
Right.
because it's like their items are going to be significantly more expensive that they're going to have to fund more money from, for, right? And then it's like, look, this shit has a trickle effect. It's not like everybody
Right.
else is not going to feel this, right? So, so it kind of makes me wonder, how is the landscape on Kickstarter going to be affected by this if like creators are going to like either outright lose their manufacturing capability, or they're going to see, not only they're going to have to raise their prices, but they're going to have to like put longer turnaround times for their products,
As if the shipping issues weren't bad enough.
right, as if,
Like
yeah,
now we have
exactly,
production issues.
right, exactly.
Mm.
So like, because like Jose was telling me the last time he looked at Kickstarter, there was like over like 300 something campaigns, so I'm just kind of wondering like, okay, it's like, what are we going to see some changes? Are we going to see changes in that environment because of this?
Mm.
Are, it's like, not only, like I said, it's like, are creators going to start dropping off or putting out less work? Are we going to see, like funding become even more difficult as stuff becomes more expensive and people are like going, I don't like your stuff that much,
Huh.
you know? Um, so that's kind of, so that's only one of the concerns, right? That's the one that I'm like going, oh,
You're giving me anxiety.
right. Yeah. That it's like, holy shit, it's like, you know, kind of like that, right? And then the other thing. Then there's this other thing, right? Now, mind you, this other thing is still all conjecture. Everybody who talks about it is still talking out of their asses because nobody knows anything for sure. So everyone is just speculating. But the whole alliance buying Diamond,
Oh, yeah.
right? So Alliance is this giant ass distribution company. They distribute for Hasbro and like all these these major companies, records,
Right.
and the whole thing. They distribute Lego. They're very big. So they're the buyers of that. They bought Diamond. Now, mind you,
Have they bought it yet? Because I heard that
they
Image
haven't,
put a halt on it
right,
because
because there's
Diamond owes Image way more than they're saying they did.
right. So there's this whole thing, but Alliance is the main buyer. So now it
Right.
just has to be approved by the bankruptcy court. And yeah, and there's this whole
Right.
thing with the Image, with their back stock, and and how much is being owed or not owed. They have a contract with Diamond, and the whole thing is that whether Alliance is going to be held to that contract with Diamond. They're gonna, it's kind of like what Disney did to Alan Dean Foster when they bought Fox. That
Right.
it's like they said that they, because Alan Dean Foster is the guy who wrote all of like the Star Wars stuff, the books and stuff. And once Disney bought Fox, they claimed that the contract that he had with Fox was no longer valid.
Right.
And that he can sign, and the only thing that and Disney said, you can sign with us, but any benefits that you were seeing from that Fox contract, we're not giving you. So I don't know how that got settled. That pretty much Alan Dean Foster's been making royalties on all these novels and stuff, and Disney saying that ends here. because
Right.
because you don't have a contract with us. We own Fox now. All their contracts are null and void. So it's kind of like something like that going on with Alliance and Image. So I don't know. Like I said, I don't know all the details. Pretty much I only go by what Jose tells me because he's the one
Right.
following up more on that, right? But here was an interesting thing, though, that had popped up. Again, it's conjecture. It's like nobody knows anything for sure. But in an interview, the I guess like the guy who owns Alliance said that individual floppies have
Yeah, that's
too
not worth it.
small of a profit margin for him to bother with as
Right.
a distribution product. However, he's willing to look into it. Like, so it seems that the way he runs the thing is that every item that he offers through that's offered through Alliance has to make like 9% profit or something along those lines. Anything less than that, he doesn't
not
bother
worth it.
carrying. It's not
Right.
worth it. It's not worth the effort to sell.
Right.
So already that kind of like sent a ripple through everybody. It's like, wait a minute. It's like, what happens if this guy decides that floppies are not worth distributing?
Right.
You know, he'll take trades. He goes, if you have a book, if you have a trade, you know, that's fine because they have a higher
For
profit
90%
margin.
of independent creators, it's not going to mean a motherfucking thing because
Right,
they're
yeah.
not in stores to begin with. So,
You know,
I mean, I
you
hate
know,
to sound like
but
a cunt,
well, I mean,
it's
it's
just
like,
facts.
yeah, that's true.
Especially one of the ones that's flailing, dude. You're in like 2-3 stores? Shut the fuck up.
You know, but the thing is, though, right, is that again, it's like, how is this going to change the environment of comics to begin with? Because, you know, it's like a lot of because like, look,
Personally, I think it's just going to speed up what's already happening, and that's the death of the LCS.
Like, I don't see, you see, the only reason I don't see that is because again, Jose told me this. Retailers are excited at the fact that now they can buy other things other than Funko Pops. They can buy more games. They can buy more collectibles. They can buy more Legos. Especially for some reason, they're really excited about Legos. Getting Legos into their stores.
Because Legos sell and Legos are fucking money.
So we're talking about your comic book stores are going the way of comic book conventions. Comic in theory only.
Right.
So if anything, this is going to allow comic book stores to lessen their comic book footprint even more.
Right.
You know, because it's like now they can replace that space with product that they've been dying
like I said,
to get
the
into
death of the real LCS. Like it's just what it is.
You know, there's going to be, you know, so it's like, so the comic book store itself is not going to go anywhere.
No.
But the days that it's only been about comics are long gone.
Yeah, they're gone anyway. But now we become a slash toy store.
Right, exactly. That's exactly what they're
not just Magic and Pokemon cards.
Right.
Now
they're going
we're
to
going to
turn
add toys
into
and
more
games
toy
too. Right.
You know, we were just at a Barnes and Noble, the one on Union Square, the big one.
That's
the only
beautiful store.
Essentially. And they have a whole area that's just Legos and toys and Funko Pops and figures. And I'm looking at this and I go, how much you want to bet this is what comic book stores are going to turn into.
That's it. Right.
You know, that maybe they'll have a rack for Marvel and DC stuff. You know, and this is also the thing too. Whatever Alliance decides to do is not really going to affect the big companies that can already
because they're mass producing.
Advantage, that can take it. Although this is where the whole tariff thing comes in, right? You know how it's going to, because the tariffs are going to affect everything.
Well, sure.
In this, in this sphere. So, so yeah, so we're not even talking about how the tariffs are going to affect all this, but so it's like, yeah, so it's like, so this whole floor of Barnes and Noble is just like toys and YA books, YA books and children's books. It was that floor. It was that floor. So it's like you had the YA books, you had the children's books, and you had all the toys,
Right.
and all the toys and all the ancillary merchandise of whatever hot book was. I guess like when we went there, Hunger Games was like really, really big, had a really like they had that shit all over the place. Like I think a new book had come out or something. So and also the thing is too is that it's like now some stores are actually things like, oh, you know what, maybe we should expand to manga while we're at it, right? So it's
Right.
like so yeah, so the whole point is that the stores are not concerned about indie comics. They never were. So so the whole thing, right? So it's like, so if say for some reason, right, Alliance says like, yeah, you know what, we're not doing floppies, we only want publishers who offer trades, right?
Right.
How is that idea going to affect us as a whole? If now all of a sudden, because it's like, look, me personally, I don't like doing individual comics. Me personally, honestly, if I didn't need to do them, I wouldn't do them. I would just put out trades, right? But
unless it's something I'm like anal collective about, like the Max. Like I own every fucking floppy from both runs.
Right. But the thing is that floppies are a really good loss lead. I guess that's the term for it.
But that's the point in Kickstarter and Indiegogo for the independent creator.
So it's like, and sometimes your individual in the short run, your individual floppies could make more money than that trade that comes out afterwards. Right? I mean, because I on mine, that seems to be the case. My 4 issues leading up to the trade collectively makes more money than the trade.
Right.
However, in the long run, the trade will outpace the floppies.
Well, yeah. Because
it seems that once people pick up their floppies from the Kickstarters, it's like they're not really interested in them after the fact. After the fact, like I'll sell some floppies on like the next campaigns, but like I think most of the people who collect the floppies, they pick them up on that initial run.
Right.
And then afterwards, I have more people buying the trades than I do floppies. So in the long run, the trades are going to be worth it, while the floppies end up having their lifespan is not as long.
Right.
So so that's the reason why I don't get rid of them, because it's like, look, if I had to wait until I finished a trade, I would literally be only doing a campaign once a year, at least for Eager Raven. Like once a year. And put that up again. What did Melissa? What Melissa says? I wonder if this would drive comic companies to put out anthologies of monthly, weekly releases instead of the individual issues like the manga system in Japan.
Some will.
We don't know. I mean, yeah, it's like instead of putting out individual issues, just put out a trade with all your individual. Like if you're doing different series, just put it out like that.
I've seen creators already make that shift.
So just to be able to get through the distribution system that allegedly we're looking at right now. Like I said, nobody knows anything until this whole bankruptcy sale is finalized. And because I asked Jose, how long do you think if once, something like that, right? It's like, how long do you think after this thing is settled, will it take before we really know what's happening? And he goes, probably about 4 to 6 months. So even if the bankruptcy court says, oh, it's like, okay, we're going to let this go. Alliance owns Diamond. It's still going to take about 4 to 6 months for, I guess, Alliance to realize what they
Out
have,
and-
what's going on, and then figure out whatever, and like kind of like put out whatever policies
Well, they
gonna
got to
move.
have their beta year where they're
Well,
figuring out what gets them
right,
back into
exactly.
fucking black, you know?
Right, exactly. Right. And you know, and yeah, so it's like, so we're not going to know for sure, but it's like, you know, it is something. Yeah. So it's like, so also the other thing
Change
that
is
it's like,
coming. That's all we
well,
know.
that's for sure. It's the only constant. Um, you know, because also like, okay, so if you want to get into stores, you have to have a trade. Let's just say
Right.
that, right? That's kind of
Right.
like how it's looking. But again, I don't know. Nobody knows.
Nothing certain, but
Right,
yeah.
nothing's certain until it's done. So, like I said, so how is that going to affect, like, like, is going to affect everybody in the indie sphere? Are we going to see actually more people doing floppies on Kickstarter because they
That's
don't
what I'm
have
thinking.
that outlet through comic book stores anymore?
That's what I'm thinking. Floppy
You know,
movement's going to go online because
right.
people still need that fucking profit from those fucking
Right.
floppies.
You know, right, exactly. So it's like, so yeah, so it's like, and then on top of it, though, right, is that, look, making this shit is expensive, especially
Right.
like for me, you know, I do everything myself. So I have an advantage on that front.
Right.
But a lot of people, they have to pay out to
Full
get this
teams.
stuff done. They
Right.
have full teams. Exactly. It's like writers and letterers and artists and inkers and colors and, you know,
Platters and
right.
yeah,
Exactly.
marketing,
You know,
and it goes
you
on and
have,
on.
you know, so, you know, so it's like because of the expense, if they want to go into comic book stores, and they could only do it by trades, now all of a sudden their projects, the cost of their projects have blown up exponentially, because now instead of putting out a campaign every 21, 24, 32 pages, right, now they have to commit to more pages before they see a dime
Right.
on it.
Right.
You know, so like, how much longer are books going to take to be made to fit that model? If that model becomes the standard, how many
Right.
creators are just going to be like, I can't keep that schedule, right?
I'm out.
Or
Yeah.
or are they just going to like stay the course on Kickstarter, raise whatever they can on individual issues, and then just really focus on doing enough material and releasing enough issues to go to a trade, to collect a trade, and then go the retailer route, right? Like I'm kind of wondering, like, so my whole thing is like, how much change are we going to see, or are we not going to see a change? Because technically, like you said, most indie comics are not in stores anyway. It's not going to change the way, you know, like it's not going to change the way I put out books. It's not going to change the way Jose puts out books.
No.
You know, but if you're just coming in and your goal is to get into retailers, you're going to have a much longer road ahead of you
Right.
before you get to that point than if you just set up an account with Diamond and started putting out issues on day one.
Right.
You're not going to have that option anymore. You know, so I don't know. And like I said, that's not even counting the whole tariffs thing, you know, on top of everything. So like, so there's just a lot of moving parts all of a sudden in our
It's
industry,
avalanche.
you know, and it's just like, okay, you know, it's like, it's either, and it just seems like it's only going to go one of two ways, right? It's either going to really, really affect you, or
not affect you at all.
or not affect you at all. I don't
Right.
think there's going to be a real middle ground on this.
No. I don't
You
know.
know?
Unfortunately, there will not be.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, because it's like, one thing's for sure though, it's like, I don't know. I am kind of leaning towards seeing Kickstarter get more crowded. I'm kind of leaning towards that.
Right. I that's what I'm thinking is going to happen.
You know,
That's what I
especially
see.
you're right, especially when the
It'll
larger
be another
companies,
weeding process, like
yeah,
fucking the COVID
you know,
junk.
and then mind you,
Like,
it's like, you know, like a lot of, you know, like like I don't know, it's like I don't know if even the larger companies, the more mainstream companies, they function in their own bubble.
right.
You know, it's like they function in their own thing, and it's like, you know, it really, it's like as indie creators, I don't. In the end, it's like, you know, are what they doing really relevant to what we need to do or what we're doing? Um, because I don't know, I kind of have a hard time seeing them going out of their way to do floppies on Kickstarter. Like, I think that they're better, like they're going to continue putting out their trades, their giant ass trades on Kickstarter anyway,
Right.
you know, but like, yeah, I don't know, maybe nothing will change. You know, I mean, maybe
Who
it's,
the it's
yeah,
just it's a wait and see. I mean,
right.
really. That's where we're at right now.
You know? Yeah, because it's like, look, so far all the usual suspects have not seen any downturn. So it's really obvious that when people want to spend money, they'll spend money.
Right.
The trick is that how loyal of an audience do you have that they'll continue spending money on you regardless of what happens?
Right.
You know, I mean, that's kind of, and in the end, that boils down to the whole newsletter thing and managing your. See, it all comes together. It all comes full circle.
Look,
Yeah,
like we did that on
yeah,
purpose.
yeah.
That
I
was the
know, right?
plan. That was the plan.
Sure, yeah. You know, but yeah, so it's like, so that's why, like, in the end, it's like, you know, it's going to be more important than ever to have control over your audience,
Right.
because it's like you're going to really need to cultivate that loyalty in the next 4 years, maybe 2 years,
Sheesh.
maybe, we, you know, we don't know, you know, because it's like this is going to be a test for everybody, you know, because it's like if you're making a product that's the same as a certain 35% of Kickstarter that everybody else does in that
Mm,
35%, who's really going to get that money? You know, when you're essentially offering up the same stuff as the dominant 35% on Kickstarter. So, how loyal is your audience?
mm.
You know, because this is probably when it's really going to count, you know, but I don't know. I really don't know. It's like, yeah, we're not going to know until it happens, right?
Right. I
So,
hate the unknown.
yeah, no, there's going to be a lot of it. There's going to be a lot of it. So, oh my goodness. So yeah. That's where I'm kind of at right now.
Doom and gloom.
You know, well, hopefully not. Hopefully not.
No,
Like
it
I
really
said,
no,
like
I'm just messing.
for all we know, nothing changes for us. But at the same time, it might change in little ways, you know. But I don't know. I don't know. So any final thoughts? Any final thoughts on this?
I'm empty.
Yeah,
Uh,
me
uh,
too.
I,
Me too.
I'm empty. Like that's
Yeah.
pretty much
You know.
it's anxiety inducing. I hate uncertainties. I just
Right, yeah.
and it could be nothing and it could be something. It's just who knows.
Right,
I mean,
yeah,
we have to wait
exactly.
for all these other factors to come into play.
Right.
So
Yeah, exactly. And we have no control. And that's the thing. We have no control over
no control
anything.
over it.
And the only thing we can control is ourselves, you know, and even then we have no control over the outcome of that effort, of what we do, of what we can do. So good luck and Godspeed to everybody.
Just smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave.
You know, so may the odds be ever in your favor. Oh my my goodness. So I'd like to thank everybody who joined us in the chat on this weird Friday. And
Yeah.
yes, and thank you so much to all of our beautiful eyeball people. You could have been anywhere else, but instead you preferred to listen to us babble in the background for an hour. So thank
I'm
you so much.
sorry.
We appreciate everybody. You could be anywhere, and instead you were here. So thank you so much for that. We appreciate every single one of you. So any announcements or anything, or we're good?
No, I'll be putting the Kickstarters and the sign up
Right.
pages and stuff in the show notes. I did not create this StreamYard until like 1 a.m., 2
Oh,
a.m., something
right.
like
Yeah.
that. It was like,
Uh-huh.
that's why I fill in the blanks later was the
Right.
title.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I saw that, so, and I figure I changed the title so I remember what I wanted to talk about. So there you go. That's as far as notes as I get on this show. So if you want to learn more about me and my artwork and everything else that's coming down the pipe, especially my campaigns, you're going to head on over to my main portfolio site at egoworks.com, EGOWORKS, where you can find links to all of my galleries and social media sites, but I mostly post to Facebook if you are interested in seeing sketches and current work in progress updates. And you can also catch me on YouTube for an archive of 600 plus videos, pretty much all about my artwork and how I make comics and all that fun stuff. And you can also find me at my semi-weekly art live streams Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern, 2 hours of me just working on whatever and talking about whatever to the chat. It's like, if you think this is free form, we really talk about anything on that stream. It's kind of like being at a convention, but without you having to worry about blocking my table. So remember, you can also read Eagle Raven, Air the First Unicorn, for free, uploading every day, Monday through Friday. But if you prefer your fantasy to be more of a furry Lord of the Rings adventure, you can follow the link to Tall Tales. That's TAILSonline.com. And not only can you read the first 20 issues of Tall Tales for free, but you can catch up on the latest story arc, Tears the Mother, which is also currently uploading Monday through Friday. If you prefer an easier way to read Eagle Raven and Tall Tales, you can read Eagle Raven on Webtoon. Eagle Raven updates every Tuesday, and you can also find Tall Tales on Webtoon as well. That updates every Thursday. I think Eagle Raven is already on issue 5, and I think Tall Tales as well they're both on issue 5 right now. So you want to check that out. Webtoon every Tuesday and Thursday. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. And in the words of the ancients, eat your food, moisturize, mind your business, and do the work. Because when you actually do the work, you never have to fake any of your accomplishments. Thank you so much again, and we'll see you next time.
Toodaloo.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. And fuck you, I'm out.